ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another live stream Tuesday. I hope that you've had a good start to your week and that everything is going swimmingly where you are. Now, tonight's live stream was just, like I said before, if you imagine just before I'm about to go live, everything stops working and things start falling over and exploding. That's pretty much what happened. And the other thing that was happening was leads. Like I was trying to get my guitar lead organized and it just gets caught on everything. And once I thought that I had it just unraveled, there's part of it getting caught underneath my pedal, my wah-wah pedal. So then I had to go over to the wah-wah pedal, release that, and then it gets caught somewhere else. So anyway, this is the kind of thing. When you play guitar, you'll be well aware of these kinds of things that happen. You just get your leads caught all over the place. And it's always when you're in a rush that happens. So anyway, we are live and I can see you guys in the live chat room. I say we're live. Hopefully you can see me and you can hear me and it's all good. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it looks like the audio is going through and I've got a video feed of at least the software so I can see that I am doing something, which is good. And hello to you guys in the live chat room. We have Jackie and went too quickly. Chan to the North. Karen, Laurie, Tammy, Barbara, Mimi, 321, Lucy, Bob, William, Terry, PM112, Corey, Vera, Barbara, Billy again, Split Image 137, Deborah Joe, Alison, Christine Z, Laugh Out Loud, Can, Julesy, Cindy again. Hello, everybody. And I said again, thank you for joining me on the live stream. It's always good to touch base with you guys, see what's going on a Tuesday and a Saturday, 11 PM Greenwich Mean Time. As always, as you regular viewers will know, I always go live at this time, even if the post that I did on Patreon was about half an hour late going through. So yes, I did do a post and I was setting up the cover video literally 30 seconds before going live. So yeah, I was having to type as quickly as possible and try to spell the names of the songs correctly. So hopefully that is right. And I will mention that at the beginning of the live stream tonight that we do, as always, have a cover video that we're going to be taking a look at a little bit later on. And the vote is between I Just Died, In Your Arms Tonight and More Than Words. So those are the two songs that are being voted between for tonight's cover video, and More Than Words is currently in the lead. So if you want to hear I Just Died, In Your Arms Tonight, then make sure you click on that one. So let's get things up on screen. Let's get organised. First of all, the names of my patrons who make this all possible in the first place. So a massive shout out and thank you to these lovely people at the bottom of the screen. You know who you are. And that's something that I forgot to do, was to update the list on the patron list. I mean, update the list over on Patreon, but then I have to type it in the software in order to get it on screen. And what I'm going to try and do is see if I can do, for the first time ever, this could be a disaster. I'm going to see if I could do this for the first time ever, live, add a patron's name to the list, and let's see where we are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I hit the spacebar 5 times to put a gap between the names. And we have Karen, who's become a patron, so thank you for that, Karen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and Randy as well, who has become a patron, so thank you for that, Randy. And I'm going to try and spell your surname correctly. I'm probably going to have to revisit this after the live stream to make sure that I've typed them in correctly. But thank you, Randy, and Craig, who has become a patron as well. And Craig's surname is a little bit easier for me to see on the small screen, but there we have it. And I wonder if I reset the patrons list, whether those names, I mean, they should be, now that I refresh it, it should be go through all of the patrons' names. And now it's doing it in a funny order, but I'm sure that it does cover every name. Sometimes it just does it in a random order, as it is doing at the moment. So thank you guys for all of your support over there. Patreon.com/Wings of Pegasus. If you want to check that out over there, that's where I hang out and give updates as to what's going on and all that kind of stuff. So there you go. Right, we are going to be aiming, as always, for a likes goal tonight. And that is set at 380, is it? This is something that I didn't get to updating, so 380 is high enough. We're looking for as many thumbs up as we can get, because 380 is a target, especially on a Tuesday, that we have failed at before. So we're going to see if we can get lots of thumbs up early doors in the live stream. And let's get the likeometer up on screen to see where we are at. 199, which means we're looking for 181 180 more likes. So that's a lot of people. But yeah, if you can leave a thumbs up as you come through the door, that would be much appreciated, because we will then be having Phil Jam number 65, is it? I don't think I updated the number for the Phil Jam, so that might be incorrect. And I'm going to take a gamble and change it to 65. And now look at Joe's message over here to see if that is correct. Yes, it is number 65 that we're going to be doing a little bit later on if we hit the lights goal. So yeah, if you could hit those thumbs up, that would be great. Now, I mean, that's the most updating on screen I've done live, I think. So patrons list done. Likeometer is there. The likes, 380. Big total, but we will see. And the last thing to add onto screen is the donations tab. Just to say that you don't have to donate. Watching is fantastic. Interacting, leaving a comment or a thumbs up is great as well. Introduce yourself into the live chat room. That's how we all get to know each other on a Tuesday and a Saturday. And I get to see your usernames, and sometimes I get to see you in person if you upload any pictures of yourself with any merchandise. That's another thing. Let me give a plug of the mug and a plug of the merchandise and this hoodie, if you want this particular hoodie, not this actual one because it's mine, but you can get your own version of the Wings of Pegasus hoodie, zipped or otherwise, at spring.com, and there's a link in the description below to go straight through to the store if you want to go straight there. You might have a tray underneath this video where you can link or click on links to different items, and that'll take you through to the store as well. But either way will work. The safest way will be the link in the description below, so you can click on that. The other link that we have in the description below is a PayPal link, because as I always say, you don't have to donate, but there are some people that can't resist, and I think it's important that you know between 40 and 65% of each donation goes to YouTube through the Super Chat window, and on PayPal, between 3 and 5% goes to PayPal through PayPal donations. So that's the split and the difference between those two. And yeah, you don't have to donate. I can see there've already been a couple of donations in the Super Chat window, so thank you guys for those. And I will address these very quickly. Paul has donated $2. Thank you for that, Paul. And the message is, hooray, 333K. So let's get that up on screen. That's one of the things I did remember to do before going live, was to type in 333,000 subscribers. So a uniform kind of number there. And yeah, a ridiculously big number, as I always say, with these subscriber counts. And it's actually gone up 1,000 since Saturday. So yeah, this sometimes happens that, you know, people start getting involved and subscribing in their masses, which is great, but then it does slow down as well. So, you know, peaks and troughs, but at the moment at a bit of a peak. So thank you guys for watching the videos and yeah, interacting with them, but just, you know, hitting the thumbs up and subscribing. And if you do subscribe, let me get that. This has happened again. Now they're cheering. Now they're stopping. So anyway, getting back to what I was saying, if you are subscribing, make sure that you hit the notification bell to get notified for every single video. So yeah, unfortunately, the crowd here are a little bit hit and miss as to know when to cheer and when to stop cheering. So they've stopped now. At least I can hear that they've stopped, which is good. And we have had some donations over on PayPal, so thank you guys for those. But there is a donation in the Super Chat window. And it's Ginny who has donated $5, and the message is, Phil, this may sound like a dumb question. Is there such a thing as a cordless guitar? If not, would it be hard to make one? Thanks. So yes, I mean, it's just, you don't need a cordless guitar. You can just get a normal guitar and make it wireless with a wireless system, and wireless systems nowadays, when I had one when I was gigging, they were really new and everyone was still using leads, but the wireless guitar systems were really expensive. But now you can get them on Amazon for about £20 or £30, something like that. So they're relatively inexpensive, and there are a lot of companies that have made their version of it. So you don't have to buy a wireless guitar. You can just buy a normal guitar and make it wireless. The Mugabe guitar behind me there, that is probably what you'd classify as a wireless guitar, because it's a guitar that has the speaker or the amp actually in it or on it, as you'll know if you've seen my video that I did on the Mugabe guitar. So that's probably as close as you can get, because you're not having to plug into an amplifier, you're already amplified. So that's probably the closest thing to what you're saying there, Jenny. But thank you for that donation. And I know that there have been some donations over on PayPal as well, so thank you guys for these. And what I do want to do is make sure that I don't miss any from last time. Okay, no, we got up to date last time. So the next one that came through was from Hardarshan, who donated £15.24. So thank you for that. And that was at 17 minutes past 1 on Sunday morning. So that would have been about an hour after the live stream. So yes, we are in sequence and up to date. So thank you for that. And Cindy donated £50 as well. Thank you for that, Cindy. And that was at 22 minutes past 2 on Sunday. And Cindy has a message with this, and it says, "Hi Phil, with your recent videos calling out the widespread use of pitch correction and now looking into the copyright shenanigans that are happening, do you have any concerns about backlash against you or your channel?" So thank you for that, Cindy. And in a word, no, not really, because I think that when you know, and as I do, I know about publishing and copyrights and all that kind of stuff, and I know about pitch correction and auto-tune and things like that. When you're just saying or telling the truth or saying facts, then there's nothing really to worry about, because every video that I've done that I have said has used pitch correction or auto-tune has used pitch correction or auto-tune. And in the rare cases that the people get in touch with me to argue the case, even in those exchanges, they have admitted that yes, they have used pitch correction, but it's because it's the sound that they were going for. And the point about my videos, and especially the ones where people are requesting it, asking me if pitch correction has been used or whether this vocalist is just that accurate at singing. So when I say that it has been used, and then the person who either recorded the video or might be performing in the video said, "Oh yeah, we did use it, but that's the sound we wanted to try and go for." Whether they're going for that sound or not is neither here nor there. I'm literally just stating a fact that pitch correction has been used. And then it's up to people to subjectively decide whether they now still rate that performance where they did initially, thinking, oh, well, their voice has been pitch corrected, but that's just a sound that I like, or whether people think I would prefer to hear a singer hitting the notes without then taking all of the vocals and pitch correcting it from beginning to end. So yeah, I don't have a problem with it at all. And yeah, as for the copyrights thing, again, that's something that I'm not throwing out allegations and accusing anybody of anything, but I know what the law is. So I said to you guys on Patreon last night in the update that I have given, well, I spoke to Sony yesterday, Sony Records, and yeah, that's currently a process that I'll follow through. And it takes quite a long time, unfortunately, with copyrights and copyright claims, because you have to wait at least 30 days on YouTube for anything to happen. So I've got to wait for that end of the 30-day period, and then we'll have to wait a little bit after that to see what happens in the future. But yes, I mean, certainly the person that I spoke to at Sony, given just what I was saying about the copyright claims and the way that I know for a fact that song was released through Sony. It's actually released through Arista Records, which was taken over by Sony. So to have a copyright claim that came through that was neither Arista Records or Sony, but a third-party company that was nothing to do with the record label, that's where I think when I kind of talked the person through it, they said what we'll do is we'll wait for the 30 days to go through, and then if need be, Sony will start an investigation to see what's going on. But this is it. It's not going to be for a while now. We're going to have to wait, but this is always the case that these kinds of things can take months, if not longer, for the full investigation to happen to see exactly who is at fault. And I think it's probably a combination of a few people. And this is the other thing, that some people have said, oh, maybe it was just an accident and people didn't know that they were claiming the copyrights or the copyright of another person's song. But you can't do it by accident, because you've got to create and register that song as an original work of your own, to the point where you then get a code that is attributed to this original work. And that is what's used along with the analysis of the sound waves and the sound file that the algorithm on YouTube will be searching for, and it will register as this particular song, which is an original work, which is actually this other person's song, but it has been registered as a new song. And of course the algorithm doesn't know that it's a cover video. It just thinks that, oh, this matches the sound waves of that song that's been registered just before that video was uploaded. So this is the thing, that there's no argument to say that, oh, it could have happened accidentally. Registering a song as your own isn't something that you can do by accident. And then to go and start selling it on Spotify and Amazon and other music streaming sites, that is illegal as well. You can't do that. You can't register somebody else's song as your own and then make any money from it at all without a contract, a written contract with the copyright owner who agrees a percentage. And you can imagine that songwriters do not have agreements with every YouTuber agreeing a percentage to give away a percentage of their song to them. I mean, just the idea of it is ludicrous, to think that, okay, I'm going to give 10% away to that YouTube channel and 10% away to that YouTube channel. Hang on, I've only got 80% left. That means I can only give 10% away to 8 other channels. So yeah, I'm just skipping an advert here at the bottom of the screen, which I saw. The first one I think we have caught, which is good. But anyway, yeah, this is why it really doesn't make any sense. And I know for a fact, if I were to speak to the writers of that particular song, they would say, I've never heard of the person that you're talking about, let alone have a written contract to allow them to take my ad revenue for covering one of my songs. So yeah, anyway, like I said, it's going to take quite a long time to get through all of that, so it'll probably be something for next year, but we will see. It is something that I'll pursue, because, you know, this is going back to Cindy's question. This is the point, that what I'm doing is following the law. It's whatever, so I haven't got anything to worry about. What everyone else is doing, that's where they're going to get in trouble, because they might say, oh, I didn't know I was breaking the law. That doesn't matter. It's your job. If you are a musician, if you're an artist, you have to know the law. You can't break the law and then say, oh, sorry, I didn't know you weren't allowed to do it. That doesn't cut it in court. What's your defense? Oh, I didn't know. So, but what? It's still fraud. Yeah, but I didn't know it was fraud. No, you did. Or you should have done. I guess this is the problem, that you've got to know what you're doing. You can't take somebody else's property and then sell it. That goes for anything in the world. You can't steal something and then sell it. It's exactly the same for intellectual property, like a song. You can't take somebody else's song, do a version of it, and then sell it as your, you know, oh, this is my cover. And that's why the whole cover album thing didn't happen with me, is because I got a third-party company to try and do it all for me. But like I said, you need to have an agreement with every copyright owner of each of the songs you're putting on an album. So getting that is really difficult. And I have said on live streams before that I know that lots of people just release albums of covers and they sell them online and you can download them. But because so many people do it, it's very hard to then, bring it to task. So there are a lot of people that I've seen that do release covers albums and they don't have an agreement with the copyright owner. So this is the problem, that if it just gets chased up, if a label like Sony suddenly said, okay, we're going to draw the line now, we're going to now pursue everyone that has sold a version of one of our songs from any of our artists, and we're going to pursue them for damages and the revenue that they got for those sales. Yeah, that'd be a ridiculously huge court case where they would make a hell of a lot of money. But anyway, thank you for that, Cindy. So yeah, answering that question in a word, no, I'm not bothered. So there's another one that has come through, and this is Jim, who has donated £40. So thank you for that, Jim. And that is a straight up donation, so thank you again. Roseanne has donated £20. Thank you for that, Roseanne. The message is, Merry Christmas, Phil. I pray you and your family have a joyous Christmas and a safe and sane New Year. Love from Roseanne. So thank you for that, Roseanne. And the same to you. We are closing in on Christmas. I can see it's the 12th today, which means it's 13 days, less than 2 weeks until Christmas. Yeah, we'll be there before we know it. And of course, we will be live streaming on Christmas Eve. So Janice has donated £40 as well. Thank you for that, Janice. And the message is, hello, Philip. Were you surprised at the Yoko Ono comments, especially after you explained that she has accurate pitch? And do you like her singing? So thank you for that, Janice. And I'm not surprised, really, because there have been loads of videos that I've done where there'll be people that like the artist I'm talking about, other people that don't like the artist, and then if two of those people start arguing, then obviously in the comment section it all goes a bit crazy. So I don't really keep a track of the different arguments going on because, it's all subjective. And all I do in all of my videos is just purely do an objective analysis. So with Yoko's voice, we did exactly what we do with every other voice. And, looking at her, chest voice and where she takes it and the dynamics that a lot of singers have that she didn't have, which might be a reason why some people don't like her voice or listen to her voice much. And Yoko's voice is one of those that, as I said in that video, that I haven't listened to, that I haven't heard before. So it's obviously one of those that isn't part of my music collection, but it might be part of other people's. And, it's not something that I think really falls in my kind of classic rock, hard rock kind of wheelhouse. I don't think Yoko Ono is going to pop up between, Ozzy Osbourne or, Boston or Jimi Hendrix. It's a totally different kind of sound. So, yes, not part of my collection, but like with all of my videos, everybody's entitled to their opinion and their taste for music. And I know that a lot of people have said that they aren't fans of Yoko's, and some people are fans of Yoko's, and this is the point, that the analysis is just objective. And yeah, I do that with every single video. I'm not one of these people that is going to say, oh, that's rubbish, and oh, I think that's not very good, because that's all subjective. And pretty much, to my mind, if somebody's trying to do music, it doesn't really matter whether you like it or not, because it's them as an artist. So more often than not, the people that say, oh, that's rubbish, are the people that don't do music themselves, or haven't really got anywhere with their own music. And there's a particular kind of jealousy maybe that's going on. And I'm talking about musicians that very rarely pop up, but sometimes they do on my channel, where they're having a go at a particular artist, or they're having a go at me, saying, oh, why are you doing these stupid videos just because you can't do anything yourself? And they haven't looked into the fact that I do stuff myself. That if they only watched a live stream, they'll see me jamming at the end of the live stream. If we hit the lights goal, that is the point. So yeah, hit those thumbs up to have the jam at the end. But this is the point that I'm trying to make, is that people just go onto my YouTube channel and watch one video, or maybe a few seconds of one video, And they've then made up their mind as to now apparently they know everything about me. They haven't even typed in, all they have to do is type in wings of Pegasus in Google, and then you've pretty much got everything about me there. You know, all the things that I've done, and quotes from different people and musicians and guitarists about my music, and you know, the videos that I do here on YouTube as well. So yeah, that segment of the audience unfortunately is driven by jealousy, because they might be seeing somebody doing music and being successful, but they really want to be successful themselves. And then you've just got the other side, which is just people just genuinely don't like the particular sound that a particular artist is making. And again, that's subjective, it's totally up to them, but the analysis videos are always objective, which is why, bringing it back to the pitch correction auto-tune thing, that's why we have the graph up on screen that is set to 440 Hz tuning, so we can see when pitch correction and auto-tune is used, because the human voice doesn't calibrate to 440 Hz. So when you're getting notes that are stuck to lines all the time, that is a computer sticking the voice to a line, because you can't do that. And great singers can't do that, because great singers always hit the mean, the average note that they can hear going on with the instrumentation behind them. And more often than not, there'll be some kind of stringed instrument behind them, whether it be a guitar, whether it be, you know, actually strings, an orchestra, and all of those won't be perfectly in tune. There'll be slight variations, and this is why great singers aren't always singing on lines, because they're singing the perfect note according to everything going on musically. But when you take that voice, as I've said in analysis videos, take that voice and apply now 440 Hz calibration to it, you've now lost the relevance to the instruments that are going on in the background, and that's why it stands out so much as well. So anyway, yeah, they are objective analysis videos, and thankfully, you know, the technology exists to isolate vocals, run them through pitch monitoring software, and then see that we're just perfectly on lines. I mean, some of them that I will do analysis videos on in the future, some of the videos I've seen recently are just absolutely ridiculous with I mean, you almost, if the line wasn't yellow on the pitch monitoring software, you wouldn't see the note, because it is that squashed to it. I've just had an idea. Maybe I'll do that with some of the pitch corrected things. I'll turn the yellow line white so that it disappears when the singer's holding a note, because it's been that stuck to 440 Hz. It disappears. But anyway, obviously you can imagine it sounds really weird as well. But thank you for that, Janice, that donation. And Nicole has donated £15 as well, so thank you for that, Nicole. The message is, hi, bonsoir, Phil. In my little village, I'm going to the Christmas market. I suppose it's the same things in your town. Good week, Phil. We send a lot of friendship, kiss, and Christmas. Rock. So thank you for that, Nicole. And I don't think we really have markets here. We used to when I was younger, or maybe on a Saturday afternoon, there'll be a market in the town, but you know, it's not a huge thing. It's just kind of down the main high street. But what does happen at Christmas usually are the late opening times. So the shops will close at like 8 o'clock or something like that, or 9 o'clock, where they normally used to close at, 5 or half 5. So you just get late night shopping, really. So not a market, but just obviously a lot more hours for you to get your Christmas shopping in. So thank you for that, Nicole. And Paul has donated $5. Thank you for that, Paul. The message is, again, 333,000 subscribers. Congratulations, Phil. Let's spike those likes, all y'all, and have fun tonight. Looks like catch-up crew for me again tonight. Rock. So thank you for that, Paul. And if you are watching this on catch-up, hello to you people in the future. And you can keep on hitting that thumbs up. It really does help the live stream to get out there and for the channel to grow on the whole. But yes, if you're looking to get involved in the live stream and maybe send in a picture, make sure that you check out the Wings of Pegasus supporters group over on Facebook. If you are a Facebook user, you can upload pictures there, because we will be having Picture Corner a little bit later on tonight. And it's 37 minutes past 11 here in the UK, so we're pretty much okay at the moment to fit everything in. But thank you for that, Paul. And another donation has come through from Tammy for £10. So thank you for that, Tammy. And the message is, hi Phil, congratulations on hitting 333,000 subscribers. In your opinion, what would it take to stop label/record companies from auto-tuning or pitch correcting artists' songs? Keep on rocking. So thank you for that, Tammy. And I think what it would have to take, which I don't think is going to be happening in the music industry anytime soon, I mean, fundamentally, getting to the reason and the crux of why pitch correction and auto-tune was used. To begin with, auto-tune was used, but as pitch correction advanced, they then realised, the industry realised that, oh, we can start to achieve the same thing we did with auto-tune, which is quite crass and made notes that weren't quite accurate enough snap to 440 hertz, but it did snap. You heard a sudden jump. Pitch correction was something that you can control it manually. So rather than jumping straight up to the note, you can take that note and lift it gradually, if you want to, over the destination. And as time progresses, pitch correction is getting easier and easier to use, but it's still being used really badly because the people applying it aren't musicians and they're not singers. So they're just putting it directly over the lines, not knowing that that's not where the best note is. If they were singers and they used their ears and they had that ability, they would be able to listen to the voice, listen to the backing, and hear harmonically where the note should be, not where it should be calibrated to 440 hertz. So anyway, fundamentally, the reason that it's taken off is because now you don't need to be able to hit notes, which means people will say you don't have to be as talented, but you just don't. I think that you can learn to sing. So it means that you just don't need to be as good at singing in order to get a really accurate vocal. If you don't need to be as good at singing to get a really accurate vocal, it means that singers won't have to do lots of takes in the studio. If you don't have to do lots of takes in the studio, you don't need to spend more time in the studio because you've got a singer who can't hit the notes. So it means that record labels are saving time. They're saving money. And the reason they're doing that is because they can take a vocal that wasn't very accurate, and now that can be your final released vocal. It doesn't matter that it wasn't very good. So they're saving money, therefore increasing profits, and the music industry is a business. So if you can find something that changes your product, but people keep buying the product, then, and you're increasing your profit margins, then they're going to do it. The only thing is that people don't know that they're buying something that has been effectively changed. The only thing that would stop it is for pitch correction and auto-tune to be divulged, or for you to see that this has used pitch correction or auto-tune. But more recently, I've said that what they should do, because it's used 99.9% of the time nowadays, and I mean, when I'm asked to look at performances now from the last 3 to 5 years, even longer than that, they're all pitch corrected. And a lot of people say, oh, why don't you feature more up-to-date performances? And I do have them, but the people that request it, I have to reply in the email and say, it has been heavily pitch corrected, so I will have to point that out in my analysis video. And then they'll say, oh, okay, well, don't bother then. Because it's an artist that they thought was really good, who was doing it naturally. But I'm going to have to tell everyone that, oh, this performance that has maybe millions of views, that wasn't the sound of their voice. That has been manipulated to sound really accurate. So, yeah, this is the problem. But anyway, I would say that if you released songs and released videos that said on there, pitch correction and or auto-tune has not been used, that's probably the better way to go about it. So that the people that aren't using technology to be more accurate vocally, you know what you're listening to. You know that, like back in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s, you know you're listening to a great voice because it has been produced like that. It is a natural vocal. So then you can enjoy it more because, well, there'll undoubtedly be more expression in that voice, but you know what you're listening to. And I think that's what it would take for And you might find that there might be an industry shift to where people who are saying, I'm not using any pitch correction or auto-tune, they might start to sell more than the albums that are released that are just released as they are at the moment with nothing on there because they are using pitch correction. Of course, they're not going to admit to using it. And if it wasn't a tool to try and hide inaccuracies or maybe inability of a singer, if it wasn't because of that, then they would just mention it all the time. They say, oh, by the way, pitch correction has been used. But because a lot of people say, well, if you're singing, you should be able to hit the notes. That's the problem that people have with it. So yeah, that's what it would take, is for people that release albums and songs to say on the front, no pitch correction was used on this album or on this single or whatever. So yeah. That's the stage that it's got to. I mean, it's a bit sad that you'd have to separate yourself from the rest of the industry, but that is it. As we've seen in the last, probably the last few analysis videos on pitch correction, even people who aren't on major labels and are just doing YouTube videos are pre-recording, pre-editing, pitch correcting, pretending to sing, doing all these things for a video, trying to kind of pretend that it's live when, it's anything but. So anyway, thank you for that, Tammy. And Debbie has donated £10 as well. Thank you for that, Debbie. The message is, hi, Phil. Just couldn't resist. Thank you for all you do. You're awesome. Love you, Debbie. So thank you for that. And Kathleen has donated £10 as well. Thank you for that, Kathleen. The message is, hi, Phil. Thanks for your entertaining and informative analysis of Yoko Ono. Please don't ever do that again. So thank you for that. And again, like I've said, all of the requests that come through, I will do an objective analysis. So, I mean, we've looked at so many different artists that wouldn't necessarily be on my list to look at, but they've been interesting nonetheless because they've been unique voices, and even some acts or artists that people think, oh, I don't like that. The great thing about doing an analysis is that we can literally look at anybody and everybody. So that's what we do. So thank you for that, Kathleen. And Steve has donated £5 as well. Thank you for that, Steve. The message is, different guitars, such as a Les Paul, Stratocaster or Telecaster, have their own natural sound. How did you mimic that sound with a different guitar? Like making a Strat sound like a Les Paul. So thank you for that, Steve. And I mean, when you analyze sound, all it is really is just, EQ, EQing particular sounds to try and get them to sound like other sounds. So when you think about, say, for example, getting a Strat to sound more like, a Les Paul, or maybe trying to get a Telecaster to sound like a Les Paul, or even to sound like an Ibanez or something. Obviously, you need effects. You need some kind of distortion. So I can't remember which video, or maybe, I can't remember whether it was an analysis video or not, but I had the Telecaster with quite a lot of distortion on the sound. But then once you've got your distortion on the sound, you then want to try and EQ or, adjust the levels of your amp to try and simulate the sound of another guitar. So say, for example, we had a sound that was quite middly or quite bright at the top end with, a lot of sustain, and it cut through a mix rather than being a more covered kind of duller sound like you'd get when the sound is focused on the lower string. So if you're using your neck pickup, for example, on your Strat, you're going to get that classic kind of more middle bottomy sound, but you might be trying to get your guitar to sound brighter and, have to boost the mids and the top end. So anyway, the first thing that you do on your Strat, if you're trying to get that kind of sound, is change to your bridge pickup so that you get your guitar to sound as bright as it can naturally. So then you plug it into your amp. If you are using distortion, you want to try and make it heavy, then you pick a distortion, whatever you want to use, whether you use pedals or whether you use your amp. And then it's a case of dialing in sometimes a combination of your guitar and the amp. But say, for example, you want a gainy top end sound with your Strat, then bridge pickup, and just turn all of your tones to 10 so that you're just brightening up the sound as much as possible. And then on your amp, you don't want to boost any of the bass. You want to try and listen to what you're trying to get close to and just judge it with your ears. And this is the only way to do it. There's no rule really. Like if I'm trying to do it, I'll listen to what I'm trying to simulate or get close to and just play a bit of guitar. And this is the other thing, that when you record your guitar, it will probably sound different, because then the makeup of the mic you're using then comes into play. So a mic might have a duller sound to it, it might have a brighter sound to it. So you might find that when you record with a mic that has a brighter sound, that you have to dull down your guitar sound when you record so that it sounds dull when you're recording out of your amp, but then out of speakers on a computer and in your digital audio workstation, it might sound great. It'll be, really nice and middly and top endy, but that isn't what it sounds like out of the amp. So that's the other thing, that when I was recording my album, I would experiment with the sounds, adjusting the tones on my amp to get a good sound that came out of my speakers, regardless of what it sounded like with the amp. And that's the thing, that the sounds that I used on my album, I wouldn't use those live because they sounded really dull. But I used this microphone, which is quite bright in nature, the way that it records. And because obviously it's a condenser mic, so it picks up the mid and the high end really, really clearly, but too clearly for my amp. So with my amp, I took off the top end and took off like treble. If you're looking at an amp, treble, took that down, mids or middle, took that down, and bass I'd give a bit of a boost so that out of my amp it probably sounded like that, but then coming out the speakers it sounded like totally different from that really kind of sounding like you're making a noise into a pillow, to then a really bright sound. So that's it, that you've got to approach it for either a live sound, you just want it to sound like it does to your ears. And again, Steve always asks a question that I could go on explaining for years, but if you're trying to get a particular sound live with your tones, then you want to make sure that you're adjusting your tones at performance volume. That's another thing, that the louder you play at, the more the tone will change. So that's something that I used to do. I used to just pay for rehearsal room and just by myself and go in there, turn my amp up, this half stack behind me up to like 150 watts, full volume, which is very loud, so obviously wore earplugs, but I wanted to get the sound how I wanted my live sound, because it's always the case that you set up your sound to be great when you're playing at maybe 25% volume, and then when you whop it up, you realize that, oh, this is a total mess. And more often than not, you find that your tone for live is so much cleaner than you think you need, because just the pure volume almost adds distortion to it, because you obviously, instead of playing at 25%, you're timesing that by 4, so you almost need to take off 75% of your distortion when you're playing at really loud volumes. So yeah, that's it. It's quite a complicated thing, but if you just trust your ears and you know what you're going for, and you can decipher, right, I need more top end, I need more middle, then yeah, that's the way to do it, to just try and use your ears. But it'll all be, most of all, just a collection of your guitar, knowing your guitar, using the tone knobs on your guitar, but then also balancing that with your amp and just using those two things against each other to then try and get as close to the tone that you're trying to simulate. But I mean, the most or the simplest part of doing it is just to get the guitar that you want, because that's going to save you a lot of time. But sometimes you can't just go and buy a new guitar. Anyway, thank you for that, Steve. And this is the other thing, that you get a lot of emulators nowadays that do a great job of simulating different amps and different pedals. So that's another option. So thank you for that, Steve. And Karen has donated £3.80. Thank you for that, Karen. The message is, hi Phil, congratulations on hitting 333,000 subscribers. Sounds like you've been very busy. On a lighter note, I heard that the past live stream got animal friendly with Alfie the parrot. Fancy the idea of animal subscribers. Laugh out loud. Many thanks for all you do. Cheers, Karen. And of course, Chipper. So thank you for that, Karen. And yes, we had Alfie popping up on the live stream, who we took a look at either last time or the time before. I do lose track of the live streams. But yeah, thank you for that, Karen. And Connie has donated £20. So thank you for that, Connie. And the message is, for the hard drive fund, with a smiley face, wishing you all the best, Connie. So thank you for that, Connie. And talking about live stream funds, there's a new one, literally opened yesterday. But this is it, doing the videos on YouTube and obviously recording the raw footage, the editing and all of that kind of stuff. It's just a constant conveyor belt of hard drives. And the other problem is that the larger the hard drives are, it seems like the less reliable they are. So yeah, I'm just going through not a phase, but I think now it's going to be the safest practice for me is to pretty much buy 1 terabyte hard drives and just keep on buying those, because those are by far the most reliable that I've had, through different makes and models. But the ones that go above that, it seems like, yeah, they start kind of either just disconnecting. Obviously they take more power from the USB port as well, so that might be half of it, but yeah, they just start becoming unreliable after a certain amount of time. So yes, there you go. Thank you for that, Connie. Yes, a hard drive fund is something that certainly is required all the time, but many thanks for that. And I think we are up to date in the PayPal window, so thank you guys for those. I've just noticed we are at 377 likes. We're looking for 3 more people to hit that thumbs up, and then we're going to be having a Phil Jam at the end of the live stream, which is closing in. It's at 5. It is 5 to midnight, but the Phil Jam is at the end of the live stream. So 2 more people. I'm looking at that like commenter now to see if it changes. But if you could hit that thumbs up, that would be great. So let me just jump into the super chat window, because there have been some donations in there. So let me have a look. Chris donated 10 euros, I think that is. So thank you for that, Chris. And it's a guy flying through the air. So thank you for that, Chris. And Chris donated again and said, bro, you should listen to Dimitrios Stratos. So thank you for that. And Ginny has donated $10 as well. Thank you for that, Ginny. And the message is, another dumb sounding question. If someone remasters a song and auto-tuned it without permission of the artist family, can they sue? And I think this is similar to a question that we had last time. But at the moment, there isn't anything that accounts for that in the law. And there are things that are classified as intellectual property, but that doesn't cover your voice. It's the melody that your voice sings. But then you could argue that the melody that you sang has been changed. You didn't sing that melody. So again, and this is the problem. This is the I don't know, the grey area that there's always going to be, that somebody could say, well, you've changed my voice without my permission. But it'll always come back to record labels own everything. They can do whatever the hell they want with their artists' music, auto-tuning, pitch correcting, you name it. Because at some point, the artist signed a contract where they give the record label the rights to everything, to do whatever they want to with the music. So with some of the larger bands, they might have more say in what they do, in their overall sound, if the record label has given them that leeway in a contract. But more often than not, once you sign to a record label, that's it. You're going to be losing your royalties for the rest of your life for whatever you write while you are on that record label. And this is the problem, that even when you leave the record label, they can still demand songs from you if you haven't fulfilled the contract that you signed. And that can happen to people, that they sign a recording contract, they end the contract, and then they have to spend the rest of their life earning back, or earning the money to then pay off the record label, because they didn't break even with their sales. So this is it, that you're effectively left with a debt that you then have to do your best to pay back by going out and performing. And all of the performances and all the tours that you do, in your now all your own free time. You're not on the label anymore, but it's earning money to pay back the label because they will chase you for that because it's a loan, signing a recording contract. So anyway, yes, thank you for that, Ginny. And Chris donated again, €10, so thank you for that. And the message is, hi Phil, I enjoy your analysis. Have you ever heard of an Italian rock singer named Demetrius Stratos? You should really check him out. So thank you for that, Chris. And I have definitely heard the name, but I can't put a face to that name. So I'll have to jump on YouTube and type it in, check it out. But thank you for that, Chris. And Jan has donated 50 Norwegian kroner, so thank you for that, Jan. And the message is, have you any experience with Verdi tuning? A4 equals 432 hertz. So thank you for that, Jan. And I've never really tuned to anything other than standard tuning 440 hertz, even though I know that some people like to tune at different frequencies, and certainly 436 I think used to be quite popular. But I mean, for people that don't know what I'm talking about, A4 is like a note on the piano, and every sound in the world is a particular frequency. So if there's a resonant frequency, say for example, if you do watch Skinwalker Ranch, there's a frequency that's 1.6 gigahertz, which is just a sound, but it's a sound that it registers on all of their equipment, but it's a frequency. So along frequencies you can have information, and the information, when you're talking about music, A4 is in standard tuning 440 hertz. That means it's a particular wavelength, it's a particular note. I'm going to call it a note, even though it's just a sound. There are no such things as notes, really. We've made that all up. But A440 at 440 hertz, if you played an A4 on a keyboard, that is 440 hertz in standard tuning. So when you then change to 432 hertz, that note, the A, is going to sound a bit lower, because the lower the frequency, the lower the note or the sound. The higher frequency, the higher the sound. So yeah, when we're talking about 200 hertz, 500 hertz, 1,000 hertz, 10,000 hertz, all these kinds of things. Skinwalker Ranch was gigahertz, so that's like miles away, but something that we're not going to be listening to as humans. But when you go back to A4 being now 432 hertz, the reason that they standardized tuning and everyone said, right, let's use 440 hertz as A4, it means that now you can standardize keyboards. I mean, that's the main reason, but you can standardize tuning, so everyone's tuning to the same frequency. So the frequency being 440 hertz at A4, that's what everyone's now tuning in relation to. When it's 432 hertz, the sound is now flat. So you can imagine that you might have some people that have tuned up to 430 hertz. Yeah, imagine 430, because it doesn't matter. You've got all kinds of different numbers that you can throw in there. But generally, I'd say the limit is pretty much between 432 to maybe 444, maybe 446. So anyway, you can imagine that there's such variation in pitch, ever so slightly flat below 440, ever so slightly sharp above 440. So you might have somebody playing their guitar and they've tuned to 432, as Jan says, but then they're playing along with a keyboard who's at 440 hertz, so they'll be out of tune with each other. So that would be the problem. But if you all agree, right, we're going to tune to 432 hertz, then of course you can all tune and sound the same. But this is why there's a standard, so that everyone now tunes to the same thing. And if you do tune to a different frequency, then it's going to be a standalone thing, because you won't be able to play along with it in standard tuning. You'll have to detune your guitar to 432 hertz. And again, you're tuning your A4 to 432 hertz. So if you want to be strict about it, that A4 is going to be on the 5th fret of your high E string. That's where the A4 is, and you're going to tune that to 432 hertz. But anyway, yeah, very easy to get kind of too technical with things, but thank you for that, Jan. David has, and yeah, just to answer that question, no, I've always worked with 440 hertz, but I have tuned to different tunings for particular analysis videos where in the performance they were tuned to either 432 hertz, 436, 438. So that's something that I have done in the past. But thank you, not with my own music, but yeah, for analysis videos. Thank you for that, Jan. David has donated $3 as well. So thank you for that. And it's a picture of a pear holding something which I can't make out. So thank you for that, David. I think it's a pear, maybe it's a lime. Denise has donated $20 as well. Thank you for that, Denise. And it's a person doing the heart symbol, which I've never actually tried to do, but it's that kind of thing. Maybe not. As you can tell, I've never done that before, but I see people doing it. So maybe you need to kind of curl the hands. I don't know. It looks like a heart from my direction, but yeah, it's nothing. Well, it's something I've never had the need to do. Sometimes footballers do that at the camera when they've scored a goal or something, but yes, certainly not something I'm going to start ending live streams or analysis videos with. But thank you for that, Denise. And right, we are going to be jumping into tonight's cover video. It's 5 past midnight, so it's going to be More Than Words by the looks of it. Let me bring that to an end over there. So, yes, it was More Than Words with 59% of the vote. So thank you guys for voting for that. We'll get into this, and then we'll get into Pitch Corner straight after, and then we'll get into the Phil Jam, because we are at, well, we have hit the lights goal of 380. So even if it was 385, we still would have got there. So thank you guys for hitting that thumbs up. Maybe next week we could up it to 385, but it means that all you guys are going to have to tune in again to get the same amount of likes. So thank you guys for doing that. We'll jump into More Than Words, my version of it, of course, and I'll see you guys after. Rock. Hi guys, this is my first proper video of 2017, and it's my cover of More Than Words by Extreme, and I hope you like it. Rock. Saying I love you, it's not the words I wanna hear from you. It's not that I want you not to say, but if you only knew how easy it would be to show me how you more than words is all you have to do to make it real. Then you wouldn't have to say that you love me, 'cause I'd already know. What would you do if my heart was torn in two? More than words to show you feel that your love for me is real. What would you say if I took those words away? Then you could make things new just by saying I love you. Love, more than words, love. Now that I've tried to talk to you and make you understand, all you have close, don't ever let me go. More than words is all I ever needed you to show. Then you wouldn't have to say that you love me, 'cause I'd already know. What would you do if my heart was torn in two? More than words to show you feel that your love for me is real. What would you say if I took those words away? Then you could make things new just by saying I love you. And there we have it. That was my version of More Than Words by Extreme, of course. Right, let me... first of all, mention that we had a donation through in the Super Chat window from Anna for $20, and that was just before Chris's and just after Ginny. So thank you for that, Anna. And the message was, just wanted to thank the Winger family for all the love and support recently. Means the world. And you, Phil, for being so awesome to bring us all together with your amazing talent. So thank you for that, Anna. We had another donation that happened over on PayPal as well, and it's Jean Marie, who has donated £3.80. So thank you for that. And that was a straight up donation. Picture Corner, before I forget. So let's jump over into there. As you can see, I have grabbed my guitar, and actually while I was grabbing my guitar, I smacked it on the table and I hadn't turned off the mic, so maybe some people heard that, maybe they didn't, maybe I got away with it because the music was quite loud. Anyway, let's get into this because we've had a couple of pictures sent in, and the first one we're going to take a look at is from Janice, so thank you for sending this one in, and the message is Phil Toon Henley and Metal Rock Death Voodoo Punk of Death Henley Double Trouble. So thank you for that, and you can see Santa didn't get a mention in that, but Santa is indeed in the picture as well. But we have the Wings of Pegasus mug, or the Phil Toon mug, some guy holding a guitar, and the Wings of Pegasus pic there as well. So thank you for that. And we have Karen here with her purple Wings of Pegasus t-shirt, and the message with this is, yesterday, what to do on a rainy day, put on the new purple Wings of Pegasus tee, along with some facial stickers, glitter, makeup and gems. Then there's a couple of gems and a music necklace. I'm also wearing a treble clef and eighth note earrings. So thank you for that, Laura, for sending that in, and thank you Laura for linking me to them, but thank you Karen for sending. When I say sending that in, Laura sends them to me, so technically she's sending that in to this room. But yeah, thank you Karen and Janice for uploading them in the Wings of Pegasus supporters group over on Facebook. So that's how you can get your pictures on the live streams, just to kind of clarify or make even more complicated the way to do it. Just head over to the Wings of Pegasus supporters group over on Facebook, and if you upload a picture there of yourself with any of the merchandise and t-shirt, hoodie, mug or anything, if you upload it there, then Laura will link me to it. We'll send it to me. So anyway, thank you guys for doing that. Now we are going to be jumping into the Phil Jam. I think let me just click here on the little down arrow, because that is now all up to date there. Right, let me get myself organised as to what's going on. Right, let's get over to Patreon, messages, and Joe has bumped it and says, Strat, clean, a little reverb, crybaby works. Right, so we are... Something that I was doing earlier was trying to get a clean sound and get a dirty sound that's at the same levels, and this is something that people that perform live playing guitar will know the struggle of trying to get your clean sound to be at the same level as your distorted sound, because they always seem to have to be programmed at different levels for them to sound the same live. It always seems like the clean sounds just cut through, and then you go to your distorted sound and it's nowhere. So I was trying to do that earlier, but yeah, I didn't have a lot of time to do it. So we will see what happens, but we just need a Strat clean, a little reverb. Let's stop this advert. Let that play through. I feel like I feel like I'm forgetting something, and it was to turn the mic on. So I remembered before we even started, which is good. Right, so this is funk, soul, guitar backing track, blues jam in D. And this is coming from Jam Tracks channel, and that's Jam Tracks channel, all one word, if you guys want to check it out yourselves. So let's get funky with this, and let's skip that advert before it just ruins everything. Right, Bella said, was that a jet? That was an advert, so it could have been for a jet, I do not know. Let's have a listen. As for the levels, we will see. Let me know in the live chat room, how long is this going to be? 6 minutes and 50 seconds. I can't, oh okay, I was going to say I can't hear anything. Zoom out. How are the levels? Where's the red dude? There he is. Okay, right. My chair's already up, I think. So it should be fine. Should be fine. Hopefully. Can you guys hear this? I'm still kind of waiting to see if this is coming through. Okay, Joe says perfect level. Cool. Breakdown. Pedal's a bit far away. Let me see if this sound's gonna work. Sudden ending unresolved. Oh, we didn't even go back to the D to finish with. So, yeah, unfortunately there was a sudden ending, but there it was. There's tonight's Phil Jam, a bit of funky soul guitar, or at least that's what was attempted. That was at least the backing track, but I don't know what the levels were like for when I went a bit distorted. So I'll have to maybe listen to that back and see what it was like. But that's what I was trying to do earlier, just trying to get the clean with the kind of dirty levels to make sure that... And this one... Yeah, I mean, that kind of sounds all right. Anyway, yes, we will be calling it to a close now. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight and hitting that thumbs up so that we could even have that Phil Jam. And yeah, this is the other thing, that we're getting quite close to the end of this batch of backing tracks, and I think at some point we're going to be hitting number 100, or maybe that's going to be the first of the new batch. So lots of Phil Jams have happened, and another one for tonight, which is great. So let's get everything organised for the rest of the week. As always, we're going to be here with another video tomorrow night and Friday night, and then live streaming on Saturday. Again, 11 PM Greenwich Mean Time. As always, thank you guys for tuning in tonight. And yes, we are up to date with everything now. So all that's left for me to say is try to stay as safe and as sane as possible in this crazy world in which we live, and have a great rest of your week, and I'll catch you guys at the next one. Rock!